All right, so the next steps on the TTR build, starting to get parts rolling in. Black front fender, it's a 2015-2016 YZ85 fender. Just think it looks better. Black rear fender. Unfortunately, they're not the same brand. I wish they were a Cherubies, but they're not. This is UFO front fender and a Meyer rear fender. Looks like Meyer is really my only option for, or Chinese options for black plastics for a TTR. Box from Motorsport. Tubes, front and rear. New Galfer front brake cable. Fork guards, which are Cherubies, thank goodness. And yes, they're white. I have a plan for that. We got steering stem bearings. I think this is the linkage, yeah. All balls linkage rebuild kit. And those would be fork seals and wipers. And some Galfer front brakes. Now I have, the order's way bigger now. I'm still waiting on a bunch of stuff. So that's coming. So far, pretty much everything back from powder, swing arm. The wheels are put together. I need to true them and put the tires or wheels, or yeah, tubes and tires in them. Kickstarter. Brake caliper, pegs, linkage, triples. The color's not exactly the same, but I think things are far enough apart between what's Cerakoted and powder coated. It'll be all right, but should look pretty good together. So real quickly, I'm just gonna throw the pegs on because I have the pins and the springs Cerakoted and the pegs are powdered. I would put the frame cradle on it, just like I put it on a stand, but I'm sending the bolts out for the frame cradle to get Cerakoted in that bronze color, just so, I mean, at this point I've Cerakoted or powder coated everything. There's no sense in putting old or even just a regular bolt in there, even a new one that isn't that bronze color. So that's what we're doing. All right, so these KX 450 pegs, the stopper to hold them level needs to be like basically level straight with this down piece. Get them to fit, that side's on. So hitting with the grinder, cutting that off. Had to clean this surface up a little bit too, killing some of that nice powder coat. Sorry, Jimmy. Right, we're gonna throw these foot pegs on real quick. Oh, maybe we're not. Needs some adjustment. Oh, it's close, but not quite. So I'm gonna have to clearance these. This one side, just a hair. See, the pins are good, pins are good. Springs are good. Grab the die grinder real quick and clearance that. That's gonna look really cool with that little bit of bronze. So I fit these before I got it powder coated, which stinks, because now they don't fit. I just took a chip out of that frame trying to get them to fit. Just a gentle push. At least it's black, easy to touch up. So I got the pegs in, pins and springs, had to do some, they're angled up just a hair. I'm gonna let them that way because I think they're gonna wear a little bit as I ride, but I'm gonna see if I can get this camera to an angle where you can see. I'm gonna try to put this, it's gonna be a weird angle. I'm gonna try to put this BBR Cradle in now so I can set this thing on a stand and start building it. All right, so I was gonna do that skid plate black. The guy doing the powder coat told me not to go bronze, and I'm glad he did. That looks way better. And now I can put this thing on a stand and do steering stem bearings and put the triples on. And I want to get that front fender on just so I can see what it looks like. I got bars now. I don't have the forks ready yet. I got the tubes Cerakoted, but I'm still waiting on one bushing for the fork leg. I got 3, need one more. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna put it on a stand now. I got it on the stand. You can really tell that one peg is up, that one. So I'm gonna have to trim the grinder in there and take some more off of that nub. You're not gonna see it, but yeah, grind out a little bit, get rolling here, try to get these triples in. I've had the stem and the lower clamp in the freezer overnight, hoping to shrink up that stem a little bit, and I'll get the hot plate out and get the bearing warm, the race warm to get it in there. But yeah, we're moving now. Well, mistakes were made. I had this powder coated before I pushed these bushings out of this linkage for the rear suspension. So now I'm trying to get those bushings to roll. They should be just aluminum with brass, so should be able to roll them with a punch. Hopefully get them out of there. Well, I got them out. Completely destroyed them, but we're good. I didn't hurt that linkage too much where it's powdered, but a little bit. Such is life. You won't be able to see it anyway. All right, so I got all the bushings pushed out. I wasn't real gentle on some of this stuff, so there's some marks on it from the vise. I should have done that before I set it out for powder, but such is life. So I got this all balls bushing kit. Should be a lot easier to push in than they were to get out, so I'm hoping. Do some lining up here and see what makes sense. Yeah. I'm gonna grease them before I push them in too. Just to help a little bit, I think. So that's those two. Caps. Centers. All right, I got to grease. Smaller ones go in here. Yep. I don't think I hit that one with the buffer. I need to do that. Or with the sanding wheel rather. It's the same. I think that must be this guy. Yep. Cool. This should be a lot easier to push in than it was to get out, I would hope. they're going. Oh, that one stopped. No, it didn't. It's a little bit further on that one. Well, I might roll that one edge. Well, that's not it. That's interesting. It's tight. It's not ideal. Frickin' frack maintenance division.
Where's the
Hammer DJ. The screwdriver. What could go wrong? They want to work on that. I told them they're not allowed working on this. All right, so the tank and shrouds are ready. Get the little foam piece put back in. I just real quickly clean up the wiring harness and then dielectric grease all the connections. But we're moving now. Another side note, very important, if you send a frame out and get it powder coated, at least the ground side of your bolt for your coil, you need to scuff that off and clean it down to bare metal. If you don't get a ground, good ground, or an intermittent ground, a decent ground, it's gonna affect the strength of your spark. So real quick, I'm just gonna buzz that powder coat off that side. We'll be good to go. Just mocked up the side number plates and fender to see what it's gonna look like. Obviously, I have to get the heat gun out and get these stickers off there before I put graphics on, but it's coming along. I think it looks pretty nice. I haven't seen an all black or black and bronze TTR 125 ever, so hopefully it looks good. All right, so I got one side of these fork lugs apart. That's the guts. I had to make a tool, just a piece of pipe. I wanted a big nut to the end. I wasn't sure how much I was gonna need to do on this end, but just cut 4 little notches out, or ears, tangs, and it matches up with the 4 on top of that fork. But this side is seized down in here, so I need to heat it, just like the story of these forks. So I'm gonna put a little heat to this and see if I can get it apart. All right, so we got that lug off the axle, or I'm sorry, off the fork leg. Kind of see what it looks like down in there. I don't know if you can really see it, but that's what we got to get apart. That's what is all this. I don't really know if the rest of that comes out. I would assume that does somehow. I might have to get a hold of a suspension guy and see if that comes apart. So I'm gonna get these Cerakoted black. So I need to know how far I got to get it apart. All right, so they're both apart. Neither one of those cartridges was built the same, so I'm gonna have to look at an exploded view and see exactly how it's supposed to be. Maybe get a hold of a suspension shop, make sure I put them back together correctly. But they're apart. My tool worked, as classy as that is. It fit, it did the job. So far, this is the biggest undertaking of this job, more so than changing the steering angle by cutting the head tube off. I think getting these forks the whole way stripped down has been the biggest part of this. So I was debating on just not putting this in the video and just skipping it because I made a mistake. I should not have taken these bottom valves apart in the lug the way I did. And that piece in the center just knocks out, so I could have done that. I went to Pro Action Suspension today and he took care of me. Fortunately, they needed to come apart anyway, just not that way, because the valve stacks were incorrect, but they're apart now. Today I got steering stem bearings finally. So I'm gonna put those in and throw that triple tree on so I can put the fender and front number plate on so you can kind of see what we're looking like. The lower with the steering stem has been in the freezer for a week, hoping to shrink it, and then I have my little hot plate to heat up the bearings to lay them down on. So that's what's gonna happen now. So I know I was recording that time lapse. I don't know if it showed it correctly, but by heating that bearing race up and having this shaft frozen, that bearing just slid right on there, right into place. I just checked it with the punch, everything's perfect. So put a little grease on that, grease the race up a little bit, pack some grease in that stem, or in that headset, put that up in there. Allegedly, you got a spacer with a washer that top nut, since that's stemmed a little longer than the TTR stem. So these are actually, what do they call them? Machine bushings. They're 18 gauge, 1 inch ID, 1.5 inch OD. So I'm hoping I only need one, maybe I need two between the top of that bearing, that top bearing, and the nut, first nut. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna let that cool down a little bit. Oh, the outer race is already cool. That cold temperature is already transferring and it's tight. All right, so I'll grease that up and put it up in there. All right, so I put those fork tubes in there just so that I could get the triples to stay put. So I could tighten that top nut because I want to put the bars on it and get an idea of what it looks like. But keep in mind these Meyer stickers will be gone. I have graphics coming, but that's pretty sweet looking. It's gonna be a really cool bike. Just makes me more excited to see it like this. I got some wheel bearing kits from All Balls. I don't know if they're worth anything or not, but front and rear. So I'm gonna throw the bearings in this real quick so I can get it on a truing stand and true these wheels up and mount up the tires. So to wrap this video up on, would be the fourth video on the TTR build, I just want to go over a couple of things. So obviously front end's on, you know, forks aren't assembled. Bars are on. I don't know that I'm going to end up sticking with those bars. Those are Pro Taper RC bend. I think I'm going to have to go a little bit taller. I don't know. We'll see once I ride it. It's not like crazy, but I think they're a little low. But I know there's going to be questions. And the elephant in the room is, how do I get a black tank? It's painted. It's not rattle canned. It is sanded with a DA, all the blemishes taken out, prepped, adhesion promoter, primer, sealed and painted with commercial tractor trailer paint is what it is. It's the Genesis line of Sherwin-Williams. It's, I'm sure, going to be okay. The way I look at it is, I know you shouldn't paint plastics. It'll never last. Gas is going to kill it. I agree with all that. However, look at your, a car with a plastic bumper. What kills painted plastic parts is if paint can get in behind the paint. So with sealing it, I'm painting it right up to the edge. I think even if I get paint on it, it's not going to take it off. It's also base coat, clear coat. So 2 levels of protection on the exterior, but I really don't think it's going to be a problem. I know somebody's going to flame me for painting the tank, but I couldn't stand the thought of doing black and bronze everything and having a blue tank. So I went with that. Also, the seat is now on. That is the Guts tall seat foam, and it got to cover with all black. Obviously, they didn't have a real good bronze option for material, but yeah, it's coming together. And kind of get an idea of what it looks like now. I actually am happy to say that I'm starting to work on some engine parts. So hopefully get that bottom end split. These are the fork lugs. My lower valves are at the suspension shop right now, Pro Action, because the shim stacks were not incorrect. So when I took them apart, that obviously bothered me. I knew something was wrong, so I took it to him to figure out. And then the wheels are assembled. New tires. Everything looks great. Somebody else is gonna tell me that shouldn't have Cerakoted the whole brake rudder. I agree, but the guy doing the Cerakoting said it's not a problem. I think it'll clog up the brake pads. So I just went ahead and ordered another set of front brake pads so that once I use the brakes and it cleans off where the pad rides, I can throw in a new set. But yeah, the idea is it's coming together. I'm gonna upload the video at this point. I also got the BBR shock spring in and send it out for powder as well because it can't be red on a black and bronze bike. But I would say we're just a week or two away from getting somewhere on this bike. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for the rest of the build.